A warm good morning to everybody. I'm very glad to introduce the speaker of the day, Mrs. Hema Dhingra. She is a teacher in a school in India, Sanskriti School. She has a qualification of more than 20 years, and she has a qualification in Master of Computer Science. She has supported many authors of computer science in editing and compiling the books. She also gave her support to produce a artificial intelligence book as per the CBSE syllabus. All the books present the concepts in a very simple manner using step-by-step approach. And all the chapters are also supplemented with lots of additional informations and detailed exercises in the form of objective questions and various activities. So let me wish her all the very best for her future development. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mrs. Hema Dhingra to guide us to the world of artificial intelligence. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and a very good morning to all present here, respected principals, dear teachers, and of course my officials who are at Goel who have actually made this possible. So let's start. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, so basically schools have an important and responsible role to provide learning opportunities for the students and guide them on the path to success. In today's world, technology is growing very fast, and we are getting in touch with different new technologies on a daily basis. There is a need to channelize learning towards applying innovative skills and applications that will actually contribute towards a robust future. Now, one of the booming technologies that we'll be discussing today is artificial intelligence, and it is ready to create a new revolution in the world by making intelligent machines. Artificial intelligence is gaining the spotlight across various applications in our personal as well as our professional lives. Artificial intelligence is the driving force that lead the future generations. So, talking about self-driving cars, robotic gadgets, widespread automation, all this will actually become an integral part of our daily lives. If you're talking about trade, work, various professions, employment, everything will see a massive transformation. Fast adaptability from our side is crucial for the forthcoming cohort, as they will be widely affected by this change. We, the mentors, the teachers, shoulder this responsibility to equip our future generations, our children, to handle the future tools with care. So we need to actually take charge of preparing ourselves as teachers and of course our students for the future. Now let's start with discussing on what is actually artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence refers to the ability of machines to perform cognitive tasks like thinking, perceiving, learning, problem solving and decision making. It is actually inspired by the ways people use their brains to perceive, learn, reason out, and then actually decide on the action. So with intelligent machines, AI presents opportunities to complement and supplement human intelligence and enrich the way people actually live and work. Let's just watch a small video on actually what is AI.
What is artificial intelligence? Before we answer that, let's look at these terms individually. What do you understand by the term artificial? Well, it can be anything that is made by humans, things that are non-natural. And what do you understand by intelligence? It is the ability to understand, think, and learn. So what do we get when we combine these two together? Artificial intelligence is a broad area of computer science that makes machines seem like they have human intelligence. The goal of AI is to mimic the human brain and create systems that can function intelligently and independently. They say that the age of AI is here, but then you might be wondering, why don't you see flying cars or robotic maids bringing you lunch? Why doesn't your life look more like the Jetsons? Well, for starters, that's a cartoon, and when it comes to AI, a robot is nothing more than a shell concealing what's actually used to power the technology. AI can manifest itself in many different ways. If you have ever asked Alexa to order your food or browse Netflix movie suggestions, you are actually interacting with AI without realizing it. And that's kind of the point. AI is designed so you do not realize that there is a machine calling the shots. In the near future, AI is expected to become a little less artificial and a lot more intelligent. It will obviously take on the role of an intelligent worker. While most of the repetitive and largely time-oriented tasks can be automated using AI, we will still need human experts who can build and maintain these synthetic bots and work on strategic and creative aspects of a job. So in conclusion, AI is a boon that can help optimize any job. This means that, as always, it's not AI versus humans. Rather, it is a combination of humans and AI versus the actual problem statement. So what are you waiting for? Pull up your socks and get ready to be a part of this AI revolution. Start learning this trending technology using Edureka's expertly curated courses.
Okay, now, apart from this, basically what we are here for is because CBSE last year introduced AI, that is artificial intelligence, in its schools. Last year they started with classes 8th, 9th and 10th. This year they have started it with class 6th to 12th, basically 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. 11th, the curriculum is there. So this year they've started with 11th. And of course, the class 11th batch this year will go to class 12 next year and give the boards. So basically, AI, as I made clear previously also, AI is being widely recognized to be the power that will actually fuel the future global digital economy. So in order to effectively harness the potential of artificial intelligence and to make India's next generation, our students, AI ready, CBSE introduced artificial intelligence as a skill subject. It's elective. So as a skill subject from classes 6 to 12. In addition to this, CBSE has introduced AI as a multidisciplinary integrated pedagogical approach to further enhance teaching and learning other subjects across classes 6 to 12. So AI as in subject has been introduced, of course, and AI as a support for all other subjects also has been introduced by CBSE. Various artificial intelligence tools have been discussed in various workshops that CBSE has been taking. So those tools can help other subject teachers also to teach their own subject with the help of AI. Okay, so now let's start with a number guessing game. Here what I'll do is we'll brainstorm some strategies to make a human guess the correct number as fast as possible. So we'll compare 3 game strategies and then we'll try and find out which is the best one. The first strategy that we have is the human, the person who's actually playing this game, can randomly pick a number between 1 and 100 every time, regardless of the previous attempts and any kind of human feedback. That's the first game strategy. The second one, the person can sequentially guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until the correct answer is reached. And the third one is, it should take a feedback from the human to restrict the range of values to pick from. That means it could have either odd number or even number, or it could be more than a particular number, less than a particular number. Each time it guesses, it should take a feedback and then restrict the range of values for the next guess. So out of these three gain strategies, which one do you feel will help the person guess the correct number as fast as possible? Basically it's the third one, the third strategy, where the person is taking a feedback from the human to restrict the range of values. Now, why is, just a sec, let me just explain it out to you here. Now what we were talking about in the previous slide was the experience. That means the person, when he guesses, he finds out, okay, that is not an odd number. So it will tell the computer that it is not an odd number. So the computer will only give even numbers as its guesses now. So basically it's the kind of feedback or the experience that the person has, which helps the person to learn and decide on its future actions. So learning actually means experience, and experience in the world of computers is actually the data. If you're talking about AI, if you're talking about computers, so it needs data to learn. Like as a human, we need experience to learn. The computer will need data to learn. Now, this slide just shows a brief input into how much data do we have nowadays with the advent of internet and all. So AI needs data to function, and this huge amount of data which is being generated due to internet is the actual reason for so many advancements in the field of AI. As we'll be discussing, AI is not new. AI started somewhere around 1920s, but there we did not have that much of data to work on. So the advancements in the field of AI were very low, very slow basically. Now with the advent of internet, whether it be Google searches, whether Facebook updates, emails, tweets, all kind of data is available for us, which we can use and create more and more AI enabled features. Now talking about the industrial revolutions which has happened prior to all these, can you imagine a life nowadays without our gadgets like smartphones, laptops, tablets, iPads, and all? Smartphones have virtually replaced the need for having a separate camera, watch, torch, desktop calendar, tape recorders, and many other devices. The first industrial revolution started with the invention of the steam engine. It created a new type of energy that later on helped speed up the manufacturing of railroads and thus accelerating the economy at that particular point of time. The second industrial revolution, there were massive technological advancements in the field of industries that helped the emergence of a new source of energy, which was electricity, gas, oil. The third industrial revolution brought forth the rise of electronics, of course, telecommunications, and our own computers. So this gave rise to an era of high level of automation. And of course, the fourth industrial revolution that we are into right now started with the internet. It's a revolution that will be driven largely by the convergence of digital, biological, and physical innovations. The fourth revolution is all about talking about smart technologies and how everything will be automated and connected. Artificial intelligence is a cognitive science, and the history of its evolution suggests that it has grown out of the knowledge derived from various other disciplines and not only computer science. It's science, maths, philosophy, sociology, and of course, computer science amongst others. But the field of AI wasn't formally founded until in 1956 at a conference at Dartmouth College in Hanover, where the term artificial intelligence was coined by John McCarthy, who is also known as the father of artificial intelligence. Let's just watch a small video on the history of artificial intelligence.
While everyone seems to be talking about artificial intelligence these days, it's good to remember that this is not something new. In 1950, Alan Turing proposed the Turing test. That same year, Isaac Asimov proposed the 3 laws of robotics. In 1951, the first AI-based program was written. In 1955, the first self-learning game-playing program was created. In 1959, the MIT AI Lab is set up. In 1961, the first robot is introduced into GM's assembly line. 1964 saw the first demo of an AI program which understands natural language. In 1965, the first chatbot, Eliza, was invented. In 1974, the first autonomous vehicle is created at Stanford AI Lab. In 1989, Carnegie Mellon creates the first autonomous vehicle using a neural network. In 1997, IBM Deep Blue beats Garry Kasparov at chess. In 1999, Sony introduces IBO. That same year, the MIT AI Lab's first emotional AI is demonstrated. In 2004, DARPA introduces the first autonomous vehicle challenge. In 2009, Google starts building a self-driving car. In 2010, Narrative Science's AI demonstrates the ability to write reports. In 2011, IBM Watson beats Jeopardy champions. That same year, Siri, Google Now, and Cortana become mainstream. In 2015, Elon Musk and others announce a $1 billion donation to OpenAI. In 2016, Google's DeepMind defeats Korean AlphaGo champion. In 2016, Stanford issues the AI 100 report. In 2016, UC Berkeley launches the Center for Human Compatible Artificial Intelligence. As you can see, AI is not new, but the advances we are making are progressing at an exponential pace, leveraging our ever faster computing power, the explosion of digital data, and the speed of communication infrastructure. In some ways, the commercialization era of AI has just begun, and it will profoundly affect our world as we know it. Similarly, or possibly more profoundly than the way the internet and mobile phones have done so before. Don't miss the next AI breakthroughs and subscribe to...
Okay, now there is, apart from artificial intelligence, there is something called machine learning. Now, artificial intelligence, as we discussed earlier, is an ability to carry out tasks that we would consider smart. What is smart? Something which demonstrates characteristics of human intelligence. And what is machine learning? It is a means by which to achieve artificial intelligence, and is based on the concept that technology can access data, analyze trends based on that data, and produce intelligent, actionable insight after accessing that data. Let's take an example to explain what is machine learning. Assume you are the batsman who is facing a bowler. By looking at the bowler's body movement and action, you predict and move either to the left or the right side to hit the ball. But if the bowler throws a straight ball, what will you do? You know, apart from the bowler's body movement, you also try to find out the patterns in the bowler's bowling habit. That is, for example, after 2 consecutive left side balls, the bowler now throws a straight ball. And so you prepare yourself to face the next ball according to that pattern. So what you are basically doing is learning from past experience in order to perform better in the future. So when a computer does this, it's called machine learning. So you let the computer to learn from its past experience, and what we discussed earlier, past experience for the computer is the data that it has. Let's just watch a small video.
My name is Ale Flores, and I'm a product manager at Alexa. My name is Dr. Chelsea Haupt. I work at the Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence, and I work on an AI-powered academic search engine. All around you, computers are making decisions, and those decisions affect your daily life. When you do an internet search or scroll through your newsfeed, computers decide what you see. Computers can already recognize your face and understand your voice, and soon they'll be driving cars and detecting diseases even better than humans. So how is any of this possible?
You may have heard about something called AI, or artificial intelligence. True artificial intelligence is decades away. There's a type of AI called machine learning that is here today. It's a type of AI you probably interact with every day without even knowing it. And it has the opportunity to help us tackle some of the world's biggest challenges.
Machine learning is how computers recognize patterns and make decisions without being explicitly programmed. What's so exciting is that it's a completely different way to program a computer than what we've ever done before. With machine learning, instead of programming a computer step by step, you can program a computer to learn just like you learn, through trial and error and lots of practice.
Learning comes from experience, and that's true for machine learning too. In this case, experience means lots and lots of data. Machine learning can take in any kind of data, images, video, audio, or text, and begin to recognize patterns in that data. Once it learns to recognize patterns in the data, it can also learn to make predictions based on those patterns, like noticing the difference between an image of a car and an image of a bicycle.
AI and machine learning are playing a bigger and bigger role in society at large and shaping all of our futures. That's why it's so important to learn how it works with some hands-on experience. You're about to get the chance to train your own machine learning model. Remember, AI is like any tool. First you get the knowledge, then you get the power.
Okay, so let's consider some things like Gmail automatically classifying emails as spam or not spam. YouTube recommending you to watch videos of a certain genre, and the recommended videos then matching your choice of videos to a great extent. Flipkart or Amazon recommending you to buy products of your choice. How do they come to know your buying preferences? Let's consider when you upload photos to Facebook, the service automatically highlights faces and suggests which friends to tag. How does it instantly identify your friends in the photo? If you haven't realized it as yet, then it is time for you to know that machine learning is behind all these surprises sprung up by either Google, Amazon, Flipkart, amongst others. So basically machine learning, you can define as a discipline that deals with programming the systems so as to make them automatically learn and improve with experience. Here, learning implies understanding the input data and taking informed decisions based on that supplied data. Okay, now let's come on to the domains of artificial intelligence. There are three basic domains of artificial intelligence, which are data, computer vision, and natural language processing. Modern day scholars, have coined the phrase data is the new oil. This phrase that data is the new oil. If everyone is talking so highly about this data, then it must be, of course, something precious. But what is this data? Data can be defined as a representation of various facts or instructions about a particular entity, let's say about a school, about students of the school, about a particular sport, maybe about a particular business, animals, anything for that matter. Data is a representation of those facts, which can then be, of course, processed and communicated by humans or machines. So data basically is a collection of facts, as you just saw in that video also. Data could be numbers, it could be words, it could be pictures, it could be audio clips, it could be video clips, it could be maps, measurements, observations, anything, any description of things will be included as data. So basically, there are two kinds of data. One is structured data and one is unstructured data. So structured data is, of course, the type of data most of us work with every day. It has predefined format. Structured data would mean it has predefined format. They are highly organized, and of course, because of being highly organized, it is easily analyzed also. The second type of data that we'll be talking about is unstructured data, which is usually the amount of data that we have today, where it means the size is not fixed, the format is not fixed. So, and unstructured data cannot be processed and analyzed using all the conventional database methods. So examples of unstructured data nowadays include text, videos. Video, there is no limit, it is not that all videos will be of 1 minute only. The kind of videos also vary. Similarly, audio, all the mobile activity that we are having, all the social media activity, tweets and all these kind of this thing, even if you're talking about Facebook posts, satellite images, all these are examples of unstructured data where the size and the format is not fixed. So basically what we have to remember is that AI, which is artificial intelligence, does not work without data. Data is necessary for AI. It consumes that data for its own learning. These sets of data can be analyzed by machines, and with the help of this, it can reveal patterns and trends and facilitate making future predictions. Data sources can be public or private. There is simply an enormous amount of data available of all types nowadays. And of course, data includes, as we just spoke, images, audio, text, and a lot more. If you're taking an example for the first domain that we discussed right now, data, let's discuss about IBM Watson. IBM Watson is an AI technology that helps physicians quickly identify key information in a patient's medical record to provide relevant evidence and then explore the treatment options. What it takes is, it takes in a patient's medical records as data, then provides its evidence-based and personalized recommendation to the patient, This recommendation is fueled by the information from a curated collection of 300 plus journals, 200 textbooks, and 15 plus pages of text, which give the doctors instant access to a wealth of information, which is actually the data it is using, which can be personalized then to the patient's treatment plan. Okay, now let's talk about the second domain of artificial intelligence, which is computer vision. Now, what is computer vision? It's a field of study. In simple terms, it's a field of study that enables computers to see. So that is computer vision. It is a subfield of artificial intelligence, and what it involves is extraction of information from digital images like the videos and photographs, and then analyzing and understanding their content. Now, computer vision, as we just spoke about, enabling computers to see, identify, analyze, process, and then act, just like humans do. If a computer can see, interpret, analyze, and can just like humans act just like humans, then we can say that computer has actually become intelligent. So computer vision are used in various places. Object detection, just like facial recognition softwares, which are there when you're talking about your biometrics and all these involve AI. Self-driving cars, of course, various manufacturing production lines, fingerprint recognition. Our phones nowadays have face recognition, fingerprint recognition softwares. And then if you're talking about optical character recognition and all, OCR and OMR sheets, which are there, which are used for our entrance exams and all these use a kind of computer vision. If you're talking about self-driving cars, cars which are actually fitted with computer vision can see, identify, and then distinguish the objects on and around the roads, such as the traffic lights, pedestrians, and obstacles, and can then act accordingly, just like a normal driver of a car would do. If you're talking about facial biometrics, like as I just now said, it's the way the image recognition works is involving the processing of the individual pixels of an image. What it does is a sensor is available there, which captures the face, then transforms that data into digital data by applying an algorithm. And then what it does is it compares that particular image to all the images present in its database. These automated systems can be used to identify the individuals in nanoseconds based on what? Based on their facial features, which could be spacing of the eyes, contour of the nose, lips, ears, chin, etc. Okay. Now, the third domain of AI, which is natural language processing. Now, what is natural language processing? It refers to the algorithms which processes natural language data and then makes some sense out of it. What is natural language data? It consists of text, textual data, speech data. So whatever I'm speaking is also data for it. And artificial intelligent machines are used to interpret this data, whether text or speech, and then make several decisions based on that. Some of the examples could be speech recognition softwares are there. You must have seen chatbots on various websites nowadays. Instead of making humans sit there and answer your calls and everything, they have chatbots. So what does those chatbots do? They understand what you're trying to say and then respond accordingly. Just like examples of natural language processing which we've talked about here, machine translation, information attraction, extraction, and of course chatbots, which we discussed right now. So basically what is natural language means the language of humans, what we speak, that is what we are considering as natural language. So the language will be in various forms. It could be verbal, it could be written, or it could be non-verbal, basically expressions, you know, so sad, happy, and so on. So the technology which enables the machines to understand and process this natural language is called natural language processing. And the main objective is to read the text or the speech, interpret, comprehend, and then make sense of that language such that it creates value for all. Okay. Now, as far as the teaching of artificial intelligence in class is concerned, you know, especially I'm talking about classes 6th, 7th, and 8th, of course, 9th, 10th also. What you should be doing is try and find out games, you know, or various activities. Try and introduce the children to various games and activities before actually explaining them that concept, you know. So I'm just taking a few examples here. This game, which is called Mystery Animal, is a game which is made by Google and is basically based on natural language processing. So what you should do is ask the children, you also should be a part to it, play the game with the children, okay? And then try and explain them. It will, you know, be better. They will better understand what you are then trying to say. So basically, if you're talking about this game, which is called Mystery Animal, here what happens is the machine acts as an animal, which has been randomly picked up. So here the player gets 20 chances to guess that animal. Now, to guess the animal, what the player has is, it can ask 20 questions, but the questions should be either in a yes or a no. You know, so if the person asks, you know, can this animal fly? Or is this animal a mammal or amphibian or whatever? So, you know, these kind of questions can be asked. So when the player asks these questions to get hints from the animal from the machine, and the machine either answers a yes or a no. So your next question should be based on the previous answer. So in this game, the machine tries to interpret the meaning of the question. So whatever you're asking, it understands, and then it answers in the form of a yes or a no. Okay, so you can play this game, explain how this game is done, and then, you know, explain them the process of natural language. Then, you know, there are different games. I'm just taking a few examples here. Different games like for computer vision, to explain them how computer vision happens. There is a game called autodraw.com. So autodraw.com is an AI-enabled tool which is based on the domain of computer vision, in which what happens is the machine identifies the pattern of your drawing and accordingly maps it with the most similar image. So this tool shows various options trying to predict what the user is trying to draw. So for example, if a user is, draws a tent, has to actually draw a tent. So he starts with drawing a basic triangle. The machine will compare his or her drawing and shows the possible outcomes for the same. So the user can then select out of them which one is the most appropriate for him or her. So basically here what the computer is doing is seeing what you're drawing, understanding various strokes what you're drawing, and then try to match it with all the images that it has in its database already, and then shows you, yes, I feel you're trying to draw this. Similarly, there is something called Quick Draw, which is again a game by Google. Quick Draw is an online game developed by Google that challenges players to draw a picture of an object or idea. You know, so it, as soon as you start the game, it gives you a picture. Sorry, it gives you an object or an idea. Then you have to draw the picture. While you're drawing, you know, all your strokes and everything, it's taking into consideration, and it guesses what you're trying to draw. in one particular game, it gives you 6 guesses. So basically, the AI, what it does is learns from each drawing. So whatever drawing you are drawing here while you are playing gets added to its database. So the next person, when he or she starts playing, the database has your pictures also. So these are 2 games which you can play with the children before introducing the concept of computer vision. Then there is a game called Rock, Paper, Scissors. Children play this in class also. Rock, Paper, Scissors is some famous game that most of the children do play. It can help you explain the concept of machine learning. So here what it does is the system learns to identify patterns of a person's behavior. That means whether the person will give a rock or a scissors or a paper, and by analyzing their decision strategies, it helps to predict the future behavior. So, while a computer will win all rounds, it's not possible. But over time, what it does is it can earn a person's characteristics to perform better. So, it can find out, okay, now this person always gives scissors, or this person gives 2 times it gives paper and then it gives scissors. So basically it learns from what the person is showing, and then based on this, it predicts its future behavior, what it should give now. So this game can be of help to explain machine learning. Then again, there is one game called Ocean, which is by code.org. It's also designed to quickly introduce students to machine learning, which is a branch of artificial intelligence. And it's based on the idea that machines can recognize patterns, make sense of data, and make decisions with very little human involvement. So students here will explore how training of data happens. So in this game, what will happen is the student will be allowed to train the system with the data, and then see how that app works. So basically, there is this site which you can note down if you want to, experiments.withgoogle.com. Here, it's basically a showcase for very simple experiments created by Google Creative Labs that make it easier for anyone to start exploring, any layman also, exploring machine learning through pictures, drawings, language, music, and more. There is a game called Semiconductor here. You can see and start playing it. With the help of the movement of your hands, you can play orchestra. So all this is AI, and in the after around 3-4 sessions of study, you should actually play these kind of games with, especially with the middle school children, 6th, 7th, and 8th, which will actually help them form an interest in AI. Okay, now of course, we've just introduced what is machine learning, what is artificial intelligence. I've introduced you to certain games which you can play with your students. Now talking about artificial intelligence applications, as is clear from here, the applications are unlimited. So, anyone who can't operate a mobile phone or doesn't know how to use a calculator nowadays is actually a misfit in the society that we live in today. So, those days are not far away when AI tools and applications will start replacing everything that we have today, your calculators, bicycles, or even mobile phones and many other gadgets that we use in our day-to-day lives now. The machines haven't actually taken over as yet, not at least. However, they are seeping their way into our lives, affecting how we live, work, and entertain ourselves. From voice-powered personal assistants like Siri and Alexa to autonomously powered self-driving vehicles. Everything, at the background of everything is AI. So artificial intelligence has become a crucial part of daily human lives, whether you realize it or not. You know, every time you do a Google search, book a trip online, or maybe receive a product recommendation from Amazon, or open your Facebook news feed, you know, everywhere AI is at the background. So let's start with a few practical examples across multiple industries that demonstrate how pervasive this technology has become in our everyday lives. So the first thing that we'll be talking about is virtual assistants. These days, virtual assistants have become a very common technology. Almost every household has a virtual assistant. A few examples include Alexa, Siri, Cortana, which are gaining popularity because of the user experience they provide. Now, what are virtual assistants? Basically, virtual assistants use speech recognition and natural language processing to match the user text or speech. So when you're speaking to Alexa to do something, basically using natural language processing. You know, many continually learn using artificial intelligence techniques. It can do more than just play your favorite songs. It can be used to control the devices at your house, book cabs, make phone calls, order your favorite food, check the weather conditions, manage your schedule, and lot more. So if you're talking about Siri, you know, everyone is familiar with Apple's personal assistant. She is a friendly voice activated computer that we interact with on a daily basis. She helps us find information, so you can surf. It gives us directions. It adds events to our calendars, helps us send messages, and so on. It's a pseudo-intelligent digital personal assistant. She uses machine learning technology to get smarter day by day and better able to predict and understand our natural language questions and requests. Now let's talk about Alexa. When Amazon first introduced Alexa, it took much of the world by storm. However, its usefulness and its uncanny ability to decipher speech from anywhere in the room has made it a revolutionary product. So, you know, not only it can play music, it can surf the web for information, it can help you shop, it can help you schedule your appointments, set alarms, and a million other things. But apart from that, it also can power our smart homes and be of help to people who might have limited mobility. So sitting at one place, the person can do a lot of things. So, you know, Amazon says it's been using neural networks to make Alexa's voice sound more human when it translates text into speech. Okay, now let's talk about one last virtual assistant, which is the Google's virtual assistant called Google Duplex. It has astonished millions of people. You know, what it can do is, you know, it can respond to your calls and book appointments for you. But apart from that, it also adds a human touch. Let's just watch a small video on this.
The progress with the assistant. As I said earlier, our vision for our assistant is to help you get things done. It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. You know, we are working hard to help users through those moments. We want to connect users to businesses in a good way. Businesses actually rely a lot on this, but even in the US, 60% of small businesses don't have an online booking system set up. We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a woman's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Mm-hmm. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have it 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks, great. Have a great day. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard. The amazing thing is the assistant can actually understand the nuances of conversation. We've been working on this technology for many years. It's called Google Duplex. It brings together all our investments over the years in natural language understanding, deep learning, text-to-speech. By the way, when we are done, the assistant can give you a confirmation notification saying your appointment has been taken care of. Let me give you another example. Let's say you want to call a restaurant, but maybe it's a small restaurant which is not easily available to book online. The call actually goes a bit differently than expected. So take a listen.
See how may I hear you?
Hi, I'd like to reserve a table for Wednesday the 7th.
For 7 people?
It's for 4 people.
4 people when? Today?
Next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Oh, actually, we need to for like upper like 5 people. For people you can come.
How long is the wait usually to be seated?
For when, tomorrow or weekday or?
For next Wednesday, the 7th.
Oh no, it's not too busy. You can come for 4 people. Okay.
Oh, I gotcha. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Again, that was a real call. We have many of these examples where the calls quite don't go as expected, but the assistant understands the context, the nuance. It knew to ask for wait times in this case and handle the interaction gracefully.
Okay, now, if you're talking about online food ordering, here also artificial intelligence is involved. Driven by a surge in online food ordering, especially amongst millennials, leading food delivery platforms like Swiggy and Zomato, I'm talking about India. So here Swiggy and Zomato are embracing artificial intelligence in a big way, to better read fast changing consumer behavior, minimizing errors, and of course, enhancing customer experiences. So there are 2 sides to these apps. One is, of course, the customer side where you are there, you are booking. And then there is the restaurant side, the restaurants, the partners that it has, which helps to deliver food at your place. So if you're talking about the consumer side, Swiggy, for example, is using artificial intelligence to deliver a personalized delivery experience, be it catalog intelligence, customer intelligence, relevance, and personalized customer experience, of course, along with real-time signals. So with the help of AI, using data analytics, it provides a curated list of nearby restaurants based on your location, of course, and your preference. Yes. So if you're talking about the restaurant side, it is using AI for time series based demand prediction models that help its partners plan way ahead of the incoming demands. If you're talking about the other application of AI, here I'll be discussing a few, but there are a lot more. So if you're talking about predictive text, predictive text, what is predictive text? It's an input technology that facilitates typing on a mobile device, or nowadays on Microsoft Office softwares also, by suggesting words the end user may wish to insert in a text field. So predictive text algorithms basically use what we have typed in the past to suggest the next words in the sentence as we write. This feature is already available on various smartphones. All the smartphones you must see when you're typing in messages, you just type the first few characters of the word and it automatically gives you a suggestion that yes, this is the word that you wish to type. Similarly, when you're talking about your mails, when you're talking about softwares like Word, Microsoft Word, there you just type in a few characters of that word and automatically it gives you the word in gray, the full word in gray. And if you want that, you can press tab and that word automatically gets typed. So you save on your time. Now let me just give you a statement here, a sentence. Harry tore his eyes from his head and threw them into the forest. Walmart raised his eyebrows at Harry, who could not see anything at the moment. Now, for those of you who are wondering whether this is from J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, do not be alarmed by the dip in her narrative capabilities. In fact, this is not from the series. It's a dialogue from an AI-generated chapter called Harry Potter and the Portrait of What Looked Like a Large Pile of Ash. So this is a chapter of Harry Potter which is totally artificially intelligent generated. And the dialogue which I told you right now is from this. So what happened here was, it's created by Botanic Studios. They fed the text from the 7 volumes. We have 7 volumes of Harry Potter. So they fed the text from these 7 volumes into a predictive algorithm. And then this algorithm then learned the pattern in which the words were paired throughout the series. Then it basically, according to it, it made suggestions based on the understanding of this pattern. So now this was about predictive text. We have something called Smart Replies and Smart Compose in your Gmail. All of you would be using Gmail, So what happens here is you start typing a reply in Google's Gmail and it might feel like it is actually reading your mind, Tap out some letters, as I just said, some characters, and the rest of the sentence just pops up in grayed out letters. So if you want that, you press tab and the sentence completes itself automatically. This feature is powered by a form of artificial intelligence known as natural language processing. So on the screen now you can see, there is a mail which has come from a person. So now what Gmail does is it reads the content of that mail, and at the bottom it gives you 3 suggestions basically of what you should reply. If you feel this is right for you, you can just click on that. It automatically gets typed and that's it. So it saves on your time. All this involves artificial intelligence, So what is happening here is it finds trends in your typing, vocabulary, your mood, and then it suggests the next potential reply accordingly. On a similar basis of smart replies, you have something called Smart Compose in Gmail also. Smart Compose is just one of a number of technologies that uses AI to predict what we might be trying to say. So here also it uses machine learning to interactively offer sentence completion suggestions as you type, allowing you to draft mails faster, whether you are responding to an incoming mail, as I just spoke, or you drafting a new one from scratch, you know. Apart from these two uses, search engines also, when you are using Google, you might see auto correct, auto complete there also. You just type in few letters and it automatically gives you the question. And it says, if this is the question that you want to ask, so you simply press enter there and it does your work. Similarly, you know, you have online forms. Autofill is also there. So if it's your smartphone that you're using for filling in forms, it might save your name, your email ID, your phone number. So in any kind of online forms that you're filling, it automatically fills your mail ID, your phone number, your name, and so on. Apart from this, many of you might be using Gmail since the past 8 to 10 years. You know, previously there was a simple inbox which was there. But now 5-6 years back, what has happened is it has categorized its email into various tabs. So here what happens is Gmail tabs use the classification system that applies machine learning. What happens is any mail in your inbox is read, understood using natural language processing, and then categorized into one of these tabs. So this is also one example of you know, use of AI by Gmail. Of course, then it also, when whatever mail comes in, apart from categorizing them into various folders, it also sees whether it's a spam or not. So, you know, it automatically sends an email to spam folder if earlier you have transferred a mail. So, you know, let's say you have received a mail from one particular ID and you feel that's spam, you actually manually transfer that mail into the spam folder. Next time onwards, whenever a mail from that particular ID comes in, it has learned from your behavior. So it knows that any mail which comes from this ID has to be transferred to the spam folder. So next time onwards, anything comes from that mail ID automatically gets transferred to the spam folder. So here also AI is being used, you know. Okay, now let's talk about something without using which your day doesn't end or maybe not begin also. You know, I'm talking about social media and various entertainment portals nowadays, what we have. So the fact is, when you're using social media, you know, a majority of your decisions are being influenced by artificial intelligence. From various notifications that you receive to feeds that you see in the timeline. Everything is curated by artificial intelligence. What it does is it considers all your past web searches, your interactions, your behavior online, and everything else done by you during your visit to those sites, and tailors your experience according to that. You know, if you're talking about Netflix, what it does is it uses machine learning to generate many variations of high probability click-through image thumbnails that it relentlessly tests throughout its user base. For each user, each movie, all to do what? What does Netflix want you to do? Basically to increase the probability that you will click and watch. So what it does is it records every touch that you make on the screen to detect mood and behavior, which it uses to suggest the content that you may like to watch. Netflix provides highly accurate predictive technology based on your reactions to films or web series or whatever you're watching on Netflix. It analyzes billions of these input data, billions of records to suggest films that you might like to watch based on your choices and of course your previous reactions. And this technology is getting faster and smarter day by day as the year grows, because the data set that it has grows. So I'm just reminding you, as we previously said, AI depends upon data. So whatever data, each time a person is going to Netflix, he or she is adding on to the data which Netflix has. So as and when the data set is increasing, it grows, the technology also gets smarter. If you're talking about YouTube, suggested videos are the recommendations which YouTube gives you. These videos include personalized recommendations based on what? Again, the same thing, the viewer's previous watches, whatever the person has watched before that, of course, your favorite videos, your ratings that you give, and so on. So all this is involving AI. Now, today, AI is enabling companies also, various e-commerce companies, to sense, predict, and automate. So now we can now collect and then, of course, process huge amount of data and use that for purchase behavior, and connect it to the purchase history to offer recommendations. So if you're talking about, Paytm, Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, and many more, of course, I've just taken a few examples here. What it does is now online retailers nowadays finding clever ways to collect the customer data. As I said, data is the most important. So maybe it uses natural language through voice, you are calling these people up. Of course, after buying, you give product reviews. So that is also taken as data. Call center transcripts, when you're calling these people up, it's recorded, and that recording is treated as the data. Of course, your purchase history, previously what you've purchased on that site, based on that, it gives you social media accounts. Whatever you're doing on social media also is very important. Amazon, for example, knows how to track buying behavior. Most of you would have bought something or the other from Amazon. And you would also have seen some product recommendations popping up on the side. Or sometimes what happens is something at the bottom gets displayed saying products which were frequently purchased together. So all that helps you to think and maybe buy those things also. So Amazon gives recommendations from there. From using AI to actually predict the number of customers that will be willing to buy a new product, to running a cashierless grocery store. Amazon's AI capabilities are designed to provide customized recommendations to its customers. Amazon has introduced something called as Amazon Go. Just have a look at it. It is basically a future of grocery shopping where you do not need cash, you do not need your credit cards. It's actually a chain of convenience stores which right now are in the US, and it's operated by Amazon. So just have a look at this.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store, so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
Okay, so here what it was using was basically computer vision. They have built-in cameras and all over there on all those shelves. And when you pick up, it automatically adds onto your virtual cart. When you keep it back, it deducts from there. And then as soon as you walk out, it senses that you have walked out of the store, and it sums up and charges your Amazon account. So it is that simple. And of course, all of this is using artificial intelligence. Now, another example, self-driving cars. When it comes to AI applications, you can hardly actually get a more prominent and better demonstration of the technology than what smart cars as well as drones are accomplishing with it. Okay, now autonomous vehicles are prime examples of how artificial intelligence is impacting the automotive industry. Self-driving cars have been a real buzzword in the industry, AI industry basically. Development of autonomous vehicles, that is self-driving vehicles, will definitely revolutionize the transport system. So here what it does is the AI system collects data from the vehicle's radar, cameras, GPS, and cloud services, which are all inbuilt into the vehicle, to produce control signals that operate the vehicle. Advanced deep learning algorithms can accurately predict what objects in the vehicle's vicinity are likely to do. Artificial intelligence implements, of course, here again, computer vision is used basically. Image detection, it detects what kind of vehicles are alongside, and deep learning to build cars that can automatically detect objects and drive around without human intervention. Companies like Waymo conducted several test drives before deploying their first AI-based public ride-hailing service. Another famous example of an autonomous vehicle is Tesla's self-driving car. According to Tesla, they have gathered data from over 100 million miles with their autopilot feature. This data is being compiled in the cloud to generate roadmaps for driverless cars, which Tesla claims are 100 times more accurate than any standard navigation system. If you're talking about drones, big names like Walmart and Amazon are already investing heavily in drone delivery programs, and it's likely to become prevalent soon here in India. You must have heard about Uber Eats to do food delivery through drones in India. What are autonomous drones? These drones can see and fly intelligently through algorithms which process the video footage image by image. So again, it's the computer vision which plays an important role here to help the drones know their own speed, motion, and to detect obstacles so that they can reach their target position on time. When it comes to transportation, who doesn't know Google Maps nowadays? Google Maps uses AI with AI-enabled mapping. What it does is it scans road information and utilizes algorithms to identify the optimal route that it should take, be it you use a bike, car, bus, train, or you are on foot. If okay, Google Map was one thing, then cab services like Uber and Ola, you know, how do they estimate the price for your trip? What you're doing is only giving you giving a pickup point and the destination. The rest is done by the app. Of course, this also uses AI. It calculates the shortest route to your destination, avoiding any kind of traffic jams. If you share your trip with some other person, then it calculates that too. And of course, don't forget the calculation of surge pricing, which it does in when you're using these cab services at peak time. So, you know, all of this involves artificial intelligence in the background. Okay, so all these were just few examples of applications. And one thing before I start with the future of AI technology, you know, as I earlier said, teaching of artificial intelligence should be less theoretical and more practical. Practical would be all kind of activities which you can include. For example, I told you, you can start playing by a game, then introduce the concept, then you can do various activities, which you will see my book, you know, each chapter has various activities at the end. So all those activities, whether there are debates, whether, you know, other kind of activities also which are discussed there, can be done so that, you know, technicalities of artificial intelligence starts somewhere in class 9th with Python, 9th and 10th. So before that, in classes 6th, 7th and 8th is just an introduction to what is AI. So you have to actually research yourself, find out good videos from YouTube. Nowadays, YouTube has various videos. There is a site, all those who are taking artificial intelligence, you can see a site called GitHub, GITHUB, which is a very great resource for all kind of AI inventions which are happening. All kind of videos are present there. And you can use those videos and then take it to your class, show it to their children, and let them also enjoy the field of AI. So while teaching AI, you know, it shouldn't be just theoretical, just boring. It should be a lot of videos, lot of games, lot of activities, and you will see the children will themselves come up with the definitions, will themselves come up with the, you know, concept and of the understanding of those concepts. Okay, now if you're talking about the future of AI, AI is impacting the future of virtually every industry and every human being, whether you know it or not. Artificial intelligence has acted as the main driver of emerging technologies, like you must have heard big data, robotics, and IoT, which is Internet of Things, you know, and it will continue to act as the technological innovator for the future. So let's say we were taking the example of self-driving cars. So although it could be a decade or more, you know, to perfect them, those self-driving cars, but autonomous cars, of course, will one day ferry us from one place to the other. The global coronavirus pandemic, which is dramatically changing our world nowadays, including the landscape of customer experience and all, you know. So a lot of businesses and everywhere, the use of AI is increasing because of this. And with people at home, you know, brick and mortar businesses also have quickly adopted to new digital strategies to provide their customers with what they need now, you know, at home. If you're talking about education, textbooks nowadays are digitized with the help of artificial intelligence. One example I just now did with the Harry Potter series, you know, there are virtual tutors available robotic tutors are available nowadays. And of course, those tutors assist human instructors, and facial analysis gauges, the emotion of student, whether he's getting bored or whether he's struggling with something, and then better tailor the experience of educating, So we can just take an example here. This is India's first robot teacher, which is there in a Bengaluru school.
All right, after robot waiters, Bengaluru, the Silicon City of India, has now got robot teachers. That is right, as the country celebrates Teachers' Day today. A school in India's IT capital has introduced the very first robot teacher in the country. Beyond Nishtita Virendra gets you more.
Robot that teaches lessons with visual imagery, asks questions, and also responds to doubts. This is the scene at the Indus International School in Bengaluru, which has introduced the first robot teaching assistants in India. The 3 robots on campus teach 5 subjects to almost 300 students in classes 7th, 8th, and 9th. But the question is, why robots? The school feels the use of artificial intelligence is necessary to overcome the deficiencies of the existing, outdated academic system that is only content-driven.
This new age that we are moving in, education of the heart and the mind is as important, if not more, than education of the head. And therefore, for the teacher to focus on the education of the heart and mind of the child, our workload had to be taken away. And this has been facilitated by the robots that come in to assist the teacher, to partner the teacher, as an example of what I would call is a man-machine team.
The 5'7" robot teacher is dressed like a human, but they do not replace real teachers. Instead, they assist them in teaching lessons.
The whole idea of having this robot there is to actually take care of a lot of things that I would be doing on a repetitive basis, right? So the class, delivering the lesson in the class, over the years, you end up sounding the same. This actually gives you the freedom to change your focus. You look at those 25 in the class and say, you know what, I'm going to ensure that each one of them has no misconceptions when they leave the class.
The students are allowed time to write the lessons being delivered by the robot and also are allowed to ask questions. The robot responds by either using the programmed lesson or the internet. Locally developed by an in-house team, the robot has undergone test runs for almost 8 months before being put to use.
I feel that it's quite a good idea with this robot because it helps the teacher have more time to clarify doubts with the student and to help them.
I think the robot really helps with a lot of learning styles of people because every student has a different learning style. So for me, for example, I'm a really visual learner. So like the animations, graphic designs help more than what the teacher draws on the board.
The robot will require constant updation and will progressively be made to look more human-like.
They will have silicone skin and they will look more human. They will be able to move around. Emotions is another aspect that we are planning to add. They will respond to questions specifically looking at students. So these are some of the new features that we are planning to bring into the robots.
Artificial intelligence is making its way into all aspects of human lives. And now India has its first robot teaching assistant. While the school still feels that this robot cannot replace teachers or humans in education, but it sure offers a peek into what education in the future might look like. In Bengaluru with video journalist Chandan, Nishtita Virendra, Beyond World is One.
Okay, now the next thing to be discussed with this, you can discuss with the children as well, for careers that they can find in the field of artificial intelligence. Basic computer technology and background in math is of course required. It forms the backbone of most of the artificial intelligence programs. So basically computers and maths. Entry-level positions require at least a bachelor's degree. I'm talking about entry-level positions. When I talk about the jobs, it requires at least a bachelor's degree, while positions entailing supervision, leadership, or administrative roles frequently require a master's or a doctoral degree. So typical coursework would include various level of maths, including probability, statistics, algebra, calculus, logic, and algorithms. It includes physics, concepts of engineering and robotics, of course, computer science and coding. Various kind of job profiles are available nowadays. Jobs such as AI research scientist, robotics scientist, data scientists, product managers, machine learning engineers. Here is an example of a job advertisement. You can see here, Accenture, Bangalore requires AI team leader. Google Hyderabad requires machine learning engineer. Adobe Delhi requires a machine learning applied research scientist. So you can, one class, you can discuss all this with them, and then give them some task also to find out more about the AI jobs, more about the place where they can search for AI jobs, more on about what kind of AI skills do they require. So all these will form some activities which you can perform in class with them. And of course, the last thing where, the basic doubt that everybody has, where will artificial intelligence dictate the job market? See, basically, the World Economic Forum predicts that artificial intelligence and machine learning will displace 75 million jobs, but in turn will generate 133 million new jobs also worldwide by 2022. Another report claims that in 2020, which is now, artificial intelligence will create 2.3 million jobs and eliminate 1.8 million jobs. Now, job losses due to artificial intelligence is actually a baseless fear, as artificial intelligence will not take over the employment market, as simple as that. It will merely do what? It will introduce a paradigm shift similar to the one which occurred after Industrial Revolution. Consequently, while many professions will become obsolete and disappear, some occupations will become much more popular with some new ones which you do not see now, So, although artificial intelligence has dramatically improved our world in many ways, there are notable concerns regarding the forthcoming impact of AI on employment. Jobs that are repetitive, monotonous, can be easily automated and transferred from humans to these robots. It's a fact that AI will create millions of jobs that the ones it will affect. Let's just take one example: advent of internet and computers. When computers came in, everybody felt, computers will take over everything and all the jobs will go on for a toss. We will all be jobless. Now, nothing of that sort happened, isn't it? Similarly, with the advent of internet, everyone thought the same. But we are here. We all are working. We have our jobs in place. And of course, internet and computers are helping us to better, do our jobs. So it's basically this kind of fear is baseless. Take an example of ATMs. When ATMs definitely reduced the number of cashier positions in the banks. When the ATMs came in, everybody thought, okay, now we will not require a cashier in our banks. Now, less jobs will be there in the banks. But did anything of that sort happen? No. Let's take an example from the automobile sector. There used to be two dominant automakers in India, if you people know, during 70s and the 80s, which was Ambassador and one was Fiat. Now what happened to these models? Do we see them on the roads now? No. Nobody pushed them out of the business. Nobody did that. But to change with the changing times and technology made them run out of business. So basically what it means is, AI will be bigger than electricity. AI will be bigger than mechanization, the industrialization. It will be bigger than anything which has come before it. So we don't need to actually fear AI, but we need to change with AI. We need to prepare to reap the benefits which AI will give us. Then of course some challenges which of course any field would have. As Stephen Hawking said, rise of powerful AI will be either the best or the worst thing to happen to humanity. We do not know which. There are some ethical concerns which are the challenges to AI. So when there is this chapter of ethics, AI ethics in classes 6, 7, 8, there you can discuss, you have case studies. Here in this chapter, when you're teaching, you have various case studies. You can discuss those case studies and think, I will be just showing you some few questions here, which are some ethical questions. And please note, there is not a yes or no answer. You cannot have a yes or no, or you cannot have anything which is right. You cannot say that, okay, yes is the right answer, or you cannot say no is the right answer. So let's just quickly discuss these. The first question says, you are a doctor at a well-renowned hospital. You have 6 ill patients, 5 of whom are in urgent need of an organ transplant. 5 people out of those 6. However, you can't help them as there are no available organ donors that can be used to save their lives. But the 6th patient that we were talking about will die without giving a particular medicine. And if he or she dies, you will be able to save the other 5 patients by using the organs of patient number 6, who can be an organ donor. Now, what will you do in this scenario? So if there is a person who has to decide, there is a human who has to decide, what will he or she decide? And if AI system is there which has to decide, because AI will not have emotions. So what will the system decide, and what is ethical? So we can discuss that with the children. Similarly, an AI music software. As I told you, there are music softwares nowadays, music being composed with the help of artificial intelligence. So an AI music software has composed a song which has become a worldwide hit. Now, who will own the rights to this song? The team who developed the AI software or the music company? So this again is a question. A medical equipment manufacturing company has developed an AI robot to perform complex surgeries. The trained robot has saved many lives by operating on very critical cases also. Due to some algorithm issue, the robot now makes an error, which costs a patient's life. Now, who is the culprit here? The hospital, the robot, the AI system? Who is supposed to be held responsible? Why is it that most times AI tools associate doctor to a man and nurse to a woman? So if you're talking about AI tools, if you're talking about a doctor, it will consider it as a man, a male person. Why are the virtual assistants, if you're talking about Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant, all these have female voices? Why? Microsoft Surface device allows the user to log in using your face. However, the device had difficulty recognizing faces of people from certain regions. Of course, Microsoft identified this issue and fixed it later. An example of a question, if AI system is there which has to take decision as to whether a bank loan should be dispersed to a person or not, will the AI algorithm be fair or will it have its own biases? If AI decides whether college admission should be provided to a particular candidate or not, again, is there a guarantee that the AI algorithm will not be biased? So, questions like these can be discussed, and the topic of ethics can be taught to them. And of course, the last here, as I said, this is the mark distribution of the AI as a subject from 6th to 8th. What CBSE suggests is you should have a theory exam of 15 marks and practical of 35. Now, practical here, I will reiterate, includes the activities that you're doing, okay? Because from 6 to 8, you're not teaching them Python. So here, theory can be objective type questions, okay, MCQ questions, and practical will be while you are teaching them throughout. It is not just one day that you will allot to the practical. Throughout, when you're teaching them the kind of activities that you're asking them to perform, whether it's a debate on something or anything else, then those can be counted as your practical marks. So 35 marks for practical and 15 for theory. So 15 all for classes 6 to 8. Similarly, in class 9th and 10th, the AI subject code according to CBSE is 417. Here, theory is 50, practical is 50. So theory out of 50, AI contributes to 40 marks, and you all will be knowing something called employability skills, which CBSE has introduced in all the skill-based subjects, whether it's other computer subjects like vocational IT and all. There is something called employability skills. So those chapters form 10 marks and the chapters of AI will form 40 marks out of the total of 50. Practicals, of course, 35 are the actual practicals. Practical file plus Viva is 15 marks. So here practicals would include Python because 9th and 10th we have taught them Python. So in 9th and 10th the practicals will include Python. And of course, it is your choice. It's not necessary that all the 35 marks allotted to practicals are only for Python. You can include one activity also in this. And of course, students will make a practical file like they do for 11th and 12th. And they have a Viva which will be total 15 marks. As I said, this year, CBSE has introduced class 11th. The code for class 11th AI is 843. Again, it's the same as 9th and 10th, 50 for theory, 50 for practical. And there are links to on the CBSE website. You can see the curriculum, the syllabus link, which is there. And there are various documents which CBSE keeps on uploading on its AI tab. There is a special tab now on the CBSE website for AI. Just keep on having a look at that. And now if I'm talking about my subject, like I've written books for 8th, 9th and 10th right now for Goel Brothers. It's actually based on the curriculum, the latest curriculum of CBSE, which is there. And this book will help sensitize the students to develop a basic understanding of artificial intelligence. This book presents the concepts in real, simple language using a step-by-step approach. The various chapters, as I earlier also told you, are supplemented by figures and additional information, real additional information in the form of newspaper articles and so on. At the end of every chapter, we have included brainstorming exercises, including multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks, various subjective questions also. And of course, as I said, there are various activities which will be of real use from classes 6 to 8 for assessing. As I said, practical would form a part of it. And of course, in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th also, to make them understand better, AI better. These kind of activities will be actually required. So this is the end of what I had to tell you. I can now stop sharing my screen. If you have any kind of things to ask, you can now.
Good morning, ma'am. There is one valid question from one of our principals. The last question you can see. Learning computer science programming can make one developer of AI or learning AI. What are the advantages of learning AI over computer science? So here, this is the main doubt. If you see the syllabus of class 11 computer science and compare with the now new AI, if you see the syllabus in 9th, they compressed most of the topics of 11th computer science new syllabus in that. And since we start teaching 11th standard, we find how much difficult the students are finding in learning. So how you can expect that this can be done in the class 9 as well as in 10 level?
No, basically what your question is, like, what is the difference between the syllabus of computer science, as you're talking about in 11th and 12th, yes, and AI?
Yes.
No, see, computer science, what we are teaching in class 11th and 12th is just based on networking concepts, concepts of Python, and things which, of course, Python is something which is common to AI and computer science. But apart from Python, whatever else is taught to them is something what they have been learning for so long, binary data, they have been learning networking concepts and so on. But if you are going in for a job, like as I showed you some kind of jobs which are there based on data science, based on AI, then of course learning of AI in school would be of help to them, so that in college they can go in for the courses which is actually involving AI rather than computer science. So that's a choice.
No, you're not getting my question. The question is, yes. No, the question is, when you talk about the particular topic in programming, say for example, Python, other than what you said, like the theoretical part of machine learning and etc., when you talk about the Python, especially the Python, the language which is going to be used for the programming field, any difference you see from the 11th and the lower classes? Only Python, not about the other topic. Forget about networking, forget about the Boolean part or whatever it is. When you talk about the Python, is there any difference?
Sir, in classes 9th and 10th, it is only, Python is covered only till lists. Stacks, queues and all that. The rest of the things are not covered in 9th and 10th.
Yes.
And of course in 11th, again, that is repeated.
Yes.
That is done basically because it is not necessary that a school will offer AI from classes 9th and 10th. Maybe a school just offers AI in class 11th. There are various schools in India who have not offered AI in classes 9th and 10th. So what the child gets to see is only when he joins in class 11th. So there, he has to be taught the previous things also. So if your school, for example, has AI in class 9th and 10th also, a student who goes to 11th from that class 10th will actually know many parts of Python, I agree, which they have already learned in 10th. But of course, CBSE can't do much in that because, as I said, there are various schools who just offer students AI in class 11th. Or maybe just, some schools are offering it from class 6th. And some schools are offering from class 9th. Some are offering just from class 11th. So that is, choice of the teacher. The teacher, when he knows, a teacher teaching in class 11th, if he knows all the students who are present there were the students of AI in class 10th, of course, then he or she can skip some portions and go on to the next ones.
Now, since we are having in our first batch of this, and since we come across the difficulties and learning objectives and learning process of the class 11, I'm having a very strong, a question how the classes of students of 9 as well as 10 will be able to pick up, because I went through your book of class 9 and where it was given all the topics up to the list. Okay, in yes. Python, you're given the topics up to the list, where in the class 11, I think my team members who are here and who are in the computer science teaching field must be having the same feeling, like how the students are finding it, not because the students in different places, they have the different mindset. So we can't balance it like in the same higher level of that kind of category. So I think they need some kind of changes in the different stages and different levels, because there are some stages where the students can understand the concepts. We cannot say that like the same thing can be done in 9th and 11th. There is a difference, but that is how the topics are now. It is matched. The same level of 11th and 12th, they are trying to teach in 9th and 10th. But I feel, and that is my personal experience, that I feel that it is not possible. And second, my question, ma'am, like in this session, I thought of asking, AI is now we are going to have in the class 10, and we have undergone class 9. Thank God we had a direct interaction. As you said, like we had lots of sessions, the practical sessions in the gaming, but gaming as much as possible we did, but the interest level was not that high. And then so we moved to the Python. The Python also, the objective of learning was little less. And now we are in a very big fix of proceeding to class 10, because we are going to send the students of class 10. So if you could give me the guidelines, like the depth of the syllabus up to where, because machine learning or that natural language process and all, it's very big topic, as you know very well. So if you could guide us to have a limit in the sense up to this, up to that, if you are guiding it, it will be better, because we will not waste time, and because we have very short of time also to complete the syllabus. So that will be a great help for us.
So basically in 9th and 10th, if you see the syllabus of AI, actual AI is just limited to the concepts, just explaining them the concept, nothing else. Those concepts are actually explained in detail in class 11th. In class 9th and 10th, it's just basic concepts, like, as I said, 3 domains, So data, computer vision, explain them what is computer vision, and then just give them 1 or 2 examples of it. Various examples come on a daily basis. So if you're talking about natural language processing, then you just explain them the concept. Nothing else is required. In computer vision, they're talking about something called as open CV. My book has all the details. So basically what I mean to say is, as far as AI is concerned, till class 10th, only a basic knowledge, conceptual knowledge is required. In class 11th, what they start with is, if you have seen the syllabus, a detailed this thing for AI is there, where apart from Python, of course, Python is there, but AI syllabus also starts off in a detailed manner, rather than just touching on the superficial, touching on superficially on each and every concept. So if you're talking about 6 to 8.
I have a question now,
yes,
ma'am.
yes.
As per the syllabus, it's written there that Python-based questions will not be asked in board examination. So
Yeah,
only question from the basics will be asked?
Only AI basics will be asked. Python, as I said, will
So
be a
Python
part
is
of the
only for teaching as a practical or just for the knowledge purpose, that's all, in 10th?
Yeah, because Python is basically used for making AI systems. So that is why they are asking you to teach children Python. But in 9th and 10th, Python will only be a part of practicals, those 50 marks. Or theory will just be based on the AI concepts. But there also, as I said, if you have seen the difference between syllabus of 9th and 10th and 11th, 9th and 10th, each concept is touched on superficially, just explained them. Yes, this is computer vision, this is natural language processing, this is this, not going into the details. But in class 11th, computer vision, natural language processing, various methods of natural language processing, various approaches to it, everything is discussed in detail. So there in class 11th, because the children grow up to a particular age and they will be able to grasp that.
Thank you, ma'am. Asha ma'am, you'd like to ask a question? Yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you unmute?
We want to introduce this subject, and I've got the permission of CBSE also. So if I want to introduce it for the middle classes like 6th, 7th, 8th, what do you advise? We should start only with class 6, or we can start with all the classes together? And if we start with 6th, 7th, 8th, should we introduce only the book of class 6 to them because they'll be the beginners? Second thing is this, if we have to, suppose we start from class 9th, and then it is for 11th and 12th also. So 11th and 12th, they ask only one subject to be opted, which is computer based. They do not permit us to go for informatics as well as computer science. Then what about artificial intelligence?
No, we have a choice in class 11th. Let's come to this question first. If you plan to start it in class 11th, you have the choice of taking computer science and IP and artificial intelligence also. Computer science is a normal subject. If you're talking about IP and if you're talking about AI is a skill subject here. It is basically taken in schools where children don't want to take in maths, let's say. So in place of maths, they take in AI as a subject. In place of some children leave some languages, or some places children leave social science. In place of that, they use it.
For 11th and 12th, informatics and computer science cannot be taken. They do not go together.
Yeah, they do not go together.
But
You're
artificial
right.
intelligence can go as a skill subject. This is what you mean. Okay.
Yes,
okay. So what do you advise about 6th, 7th, 8th? Should we start only for class 6, then should go steadily?
Yeah, we can go in from class 6 onwards. See, as it's your choice, you can simultaneously start off for 6th, 7th and 8th also. My book for class 8th can be taken in as the base for all the 3 classes, because it all depends upon the age group. As you know, class 6 is just 11, 12-year-old children. So they can actually be just, the whole time, they can be asked to play games. You can show them different presentations. You can ask them to prepare their own presentations, research. They can discuss, they can have debates in class on various topics, like as I just discussed in my PPT, topics on ethical AI, So all those kind of things can be done. In class 6th, 7th and 8th, CBSE does not force you to follow a particular syllabus, So they have given it for class 8th. The same syllabus holds true for 6th and 7th also.
So we can start anywhere. We can start from anywhere.
Yes, ma'am. So it's totally your call, whether you just want to start from class 6th or maybe go simultaneously in all the 3 levels.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now I request all teachers to kindly post their queries in the chat box. As I hand over the mantle to Yusuf, sir, who will be asking the questions on their behalf.
I also have one more question here. Can we
Yes.
expect any reader or any other study material from CBSE in the near future?
So study material, as I said, they have been posting. They have been posting on the AI tab of the CBSE website. If you go and see the CBSE website, they have posted most of the content. Their class 11th content is also there, which is very good basically, and it has a combination, as I said, of theory and various activities. So just be sure that you go and visit that site on a daily basis. You will get real updates from CBSE.
Sure. Any other questions, teachers? Please ask in the chat box. Any questions? YouTube link.
I wish I asked directly the question to Ms. Hema. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, ma'am, you said that in class 11th, along with computer science, AI can be taken, and computer science is a core subject, which will be counted among the core 5 subjects, compulsory 5 subjects. So AI will be counted as additional 6th subject, which is like an optional subject.
Yeah, it's a skill subject, so it's an optional subject which can be taken as a 6th subject. But if the person is having a problem, the student is having a problem in any other subject, this 6th subject can be taken as the best 5.
That provision is there for additional subject, but can't it be taken as a core subject, as one of the compulsory 5 subjects?
No, as of now, CBSE has offered it as a skill subject only, sir. But I feel, seeing the kind of response and everything, AI will be taken as a core subject in the near future by CBSE.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Can I ask you one question, please, ma'am?
Yes, of course.
First of all, ma'am, I would like to pay my words of thanks that you have given so vast knowledge. Actually, ma'am, my question is that how we can use the AI for the demonstration of the science practicals?
Yeah, sir, there are various websites available, like we as teachers, of course, are basically based on those websites only. There are various websites. If you want, I can, post the links of those websites which help you do science practicals at home. Like, nowadays, seeing the global pandemic, we are at home and teaching online. So practicals can be taught and can be practical exams also can be taken on those websites. Of course, it is using AI only. So virtually everything happens there. And at the background of all those websites, AI is only working. If you want, right now, I don't have those website links. If you want, I can post it to them.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think in the AI site, they did not update with any new thing. What they have given old, the same thing only remains there. I just now checked it in that. They have not posted any new materials for the learning process. It is the same what they have given before. It is still there. Means that like a manual and only those things are there, not the other materials, source materials for the teaching.
So they have something for class.
I just now search, as you said, in the CBSE Academics AI, the same data what they given before, only it is there. They did not update, I think.
Okay, I can suggest you one thing, sir. Maybe if you have a WhatsApp group of these 100 odd teachers, and I can be a part of that. And maybe whatever new things I try and figure out on AI, on the syllabus, on CBSE syllabus, I can post it on that.
Sure.
You know, if maybe the teachers are finding it difficult to figure out, so maybe, you know, that WhatsApp group can be formed where I can be a part of, and on a daily or on a fortnightly, weekly basis, I can update you on what CBSE, something new.
That is because, ma'am, for example, let's say NLP, it's a very huge topic, you know, expanded topic. And we can write like 2,000, 3,000 pages of books and everything is available. But how much content to teach, you know, to our students, that is actually we are finding difficult, because we don't know what CBSE is actually looking for. Like in the syllabus, it's just NLP, that's all. But what in NLP, that is what we are actually looking for.
That is what I'm saying. There is a detailed document from CBSE for class 9th, for 10th, as well as 11th. And seeing that only, I had, you know, written my book, because I also have the same apprehension, because, you know, these topics are so vast, and you're absolutely right in saying that you can write as many pages as you want to on those this thing. So, but CBSE has a detailed curriculum for 9th, 10th, and 11th, mentioning everything, where to start, where to stop. And that is what I'm saying. If you're not clear on those documents, of course, you know, these links which I had given on my website. Remember, on one slide I had given a link. I can post those same links to you on that WhatsApp groups.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Any other questions, teachers, please?
Actually, I want to ask one more thing. Since you have mentioned in your opening statement, your you know, acknowledgement to Goel brothers, it was clear that the book is published. Your book is published by Goel brothers as a private publisher. From the doubts of these teachers, it's clear now that CBSE or NCERT has not brought out any book on this subject so far. So I think, is it? It looks like, unless and until there is a book, my first doubt is that, is your book officially recommended by CBSE as a course book? And second is that, is there a plan of CBSE to bring out its own official, authentic books? Either CBSE no more now indulges in publication, but whether NCERT is planning to publish its book for AI?
So nowadays, like what you said is absolutely right. CBSE has stopped writing books. Writing books is now department of NCERT. CBSE, I don't think so, will be writing books on AI in the near future. Maybe not, at least in the next two to 3 years. Maybe after that, of course, yes. Because nowadays, see, for computer science also, if you see, there are private books only which are there. And as I said, my book is according to the latest CBSE curriculum which is there. And it just covers what CBSE has asked us to do. You know, it just limits the information to what CBSE has asked us to do. So the other subjects also, like computer science, you have seen Sumita Arora, Preeti Arora, and other books which are there of other publishing houses like Sultan Chand and Ganpat Rai and all those, you know. So normally what happens is CBSE does not write books for computer science. Till now it is not doing so. But because AI is being promoted by both CBSE, by Niti Aayog and everybody, so maybe, I really don't know, but maybe in the near future, maybe 3-4 years down the line, they start writing a book. I cannot say anything on behalf of CBSE right now.
Your book is the book which is recommended by NCERT or
Yes,
CBSE?
yeah, it's totally based on CBSE curriculum, and it is officially recommended also.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Ma'am, one thing I had a doubt. From 6th to 9th standard, I'm talking. Generally, we conduct the tests term 1, term 2, term 3 as main subjects. Whatever this AI subject, how many times you have to conduct a test? Is it at the end of the term, or along with other subjects compulsory we have to conduct every term?
So see, till from 6th to 9th, as I said, CBSE does not force you on a particular assessing pattern. What it has asked you to do is, like from 6th to 8th, it should be a 50 mark this thing, 15 theory and 35 practical. So whether you want to do it for term 1, term 2, term 3, or you just want to do it for the annual exam is totally your call. You know, the school's call basically.
But for grade 10?
For grade 10th, of course, it has to be term 1, term 2, and then the boards.
Okay.
The boards
Right.
are also there. So for 10th, of course, you have to follow what CBSE says. Class 6 to 9th, like we are also taking schools in Delhi, you know. Of course, CBSE has told 15 theory and 35 practicals, but many schools vary that also, depending upon their students, you know, the kind of students that they have. Maybe an average batch, they want to do it 40 practicals and 10 theory, or maybe they have an intelligent batch where, you know, you can have 20 theory, this thing. So 6 to 9th, CBSE won't say anything to you. It is just suggested that yes, of course, theory and 35 practicals should be there.
Okay, right.
But you're totally free to take your own call depending upon the kind of students you have.
Okay, thank you.
More questions in the chat box.
Teachers are requested to post their queries in the chat box, and Yusuf sir will read them out. Thank you. Okay, I see since there are no more questions, we'll go to the next part of our program. Thank you, Hema ma'am, again for that very insightful session and for answering all our queries. Thank you very much. Now I request Mr. Amir Mohammed, Honorary Secretary to the Board of Trustees, ICSK, to kindly say a few words.
Good morning. You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes,
Am
sir.
I
Go
audible?
ahead. Go ahead.
Great.
Yes.
Respected Chief Guest, Ms. Hema Dhingra, respected principals from other schools, Ms. Asha Sharma, Indian Learner Zone Academy, Dr. Achyutan Madhav, Jabria Indian School, our very own Mr. Gangadhar, ICSK Khetan branch, vice principals, and selected teachers chosen to take up this interesting revolutionary subject, artificial intelligence. A very pleasant and cool morning to you all. Didn't want to use the word warm as Kuwait is really hot. It's quite interesting to see our dream sci-fi movies are coming to reality, though I hope that Terminator of Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't come into reality. But it surely amazes me how Hollywood stays ahead of time. On a serious note, we should be happy that CBSE realized the importance of AI at the right time and plans to equip our coming generation with understanding of how the world will work going forward. I being from investment world, our primary focus in IT industry is cybersecurity, big data, and nothing but AI and machine learning. AI has a very high potential as career, as Ms. Dhingra also mentioned, since this industry is still evolving and will need thousands of smart people to mature this industry. AI has already started transforming our lives, as Ms. Dhingra gave examples of Amazon, Paytm, and so on. Like fintech will take over all banking services. So what will happen to jobs? Seems like repetitive works will move on to the machines and bots, while human will have time to develop their skills in creative learning. Obsolescence is what compels us in moving ahead, and accepting change is most important to survive this phase as well. I applaud today's trainer, our chief guest, Ms. Dhingra, for enlightening us with this interesting topic. I'm sure there is a lot for all of us to take from today's training. It would be unfair not to thank our very own visionary leader, Dr. V. Binumon, and his tireless team for arranging this and being the first in GCC to recommend introducing AI in ICSK. I hope we have much more and many more of such programs. And Ms. Dhingra, please consider ICSK as your partner in AI learning and let us work together in taking this subject to our children. Thank you.